Hey everyone, I'm here with a gentleman called Darren. Thanks for being on camera.
Oh, you're welcome.
Darren, what's your take on the whole psychology of why we've ended up in this situation and why we might even be stuck in this situation in terms of not what the government and the cabal wants to do in terms of taking our liberties, but why we're not getting them back? And is there some cowardness amongst people, in your opinion?
So, Thomas Jefferson stated something very, very close to what I'm going to say, which is the government that they established in writing the Constitution, if it wasn't overthrown or handed back to the people within a few generations, these people, us as a society, would end up being subservient and slaves to this governmental system, right? The government was supposed to be for the people, by the people, and it ended up becoming what it is today, which is a separate entity that controls the people.
Well, the United States of America, if we just take where you're from, it's a corporation.
Well, definitely, it's corporate driven and on so many different levels. But more apart from that is the reliance of the individual on their government and the inability to collectively contest their regimes, and this is all over the world. Mm-hmm. Only in the most third world and underfunded and very corrupt governments do the people uprise and end up overthrowing. But when you have a government that bases itself in sophistication, AI intelligence, basically innovations in technology, they're staying steps and steps ahead of the population. So when it comes to something like coronavirus, it doesn't even matter if it exists or not. Once it hits the news media, the sheeple, they immediately absorb it. Mm-hmm. They determine that if it's projected to them from a source that they feel that they trust, then it must be true, even if there's a contrast argument. You look at our president and contradictory he is in his own speech about events and facts and things, and whenever questioned, the people as a mass don't use that as a means to contest their government, right? They believe that just because what the man says, it must be the truth. Today, he could tell them it's sunny outside and it's raining, and they'll argue that it's sunny. And these are the individuals that support him in office. It's very dangerous what has become of our society. We have become individualists, but we are being controlled as a society. And because of that fact, no one person is really willing to stand with a collective in order to create change. Now, there's so many different things happening at the moment. You've got coronavirus. You've got the George Floyd incident and other shootings that have happened by police officers. And I feel that it's a distraction, that these things are happening because...
Well, they do say distract, deceive, divide, conquer.
Yeah.
And the whole left-right narrative, gay versus straight, and then you got the black versus white, and all those are just distraction
when it comes
so
to
they can push their agenda 21 on the whole world.
When it comes to politics and left and right, there is no difference between the two entities. They are two heads of the same beast, right? It's like being pickpocketed. They make you look left and they reach from the right.
Well, that's why I mentioned before, the United States of America Corporation has precedence. Before it was Obama, and before him it was Bush, and so on. So, as a president of a corporation, you don't decide everything yourself.
Oh, no.
You know, you are responsible to shareholders of that corporation, and the actual country, United States, went bankrupt, I think it was 1933, and then
basically been in debt since.
the corporation came in and took over.
Yeah, that's right.
But they didn't want to give everybody the impression straight away that the Constitution and Bill of Rights was straight out the window. So in my opinion, it's been gradually pick that and destroy it. Like they're peeling back the layers of an onion. They're always trying to eliminate the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and so on.
Absolutely.
You know, and now they have red flag laws for the guns, and you know, of course you have a Second Amendment, but if somebody dobs you in that you have a lot of rifles, it gives the police the right to come in and
exercise their will against your amendment right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Repossess your property, and if you resist, you can even end up dead in the middle of the night when you're just having a peaceful sleep with your wife. You know.
Thank you for acknowledging that, by the way.
So I mean, this is the constant attack on our human, civil, and property rights, and it's happening in every country now. We're hearing things from Australia where they can go into homes and separate children from parents, and I don't know if this was a Psyopp or whatever. We just had one. The one where the guy gets into strangling, this cop, he strangles a lady on the street. That same cop turned up in the video we just saw with a pregnant lady, and now he's suddenly a detective. So they're running these psyops. Just regarding the George Floyd thing, there were so many flaws in that as well. Like when, what's his name, Michael Jackson died, we saw the open coffin. He was lying there gracefully, and the same with Malcolm X. You could see the body from the front of the coffin. Not one person, I've challenged my viewers, please just find one photo of George Floyd from the front of the coffin, not the back of the coffin, from the front of the coffin with him actually lying there in the coffin. Not one photo is found of that. And then people try to make excuses that, that's not very decent. Well, why was it decent for Malcolm X, for Michael Jackson, for everybody else who had a respectful funeral? But in today's world, with all this disinformation agents and crisis actors, no, suddenly it's disrespectful. No, it's not. More than ever, we need proof that there's no deception.
See, the unfortunate thing is proof doesn't matter. We've had murders of innocent people, innocent because in the United States, any person that is accused of a crime is innocent until proven guilty. And to be proven guilty, they need to be brought into custody and then tried. People are being shot dead, unarmed, and it's being filmed. It's a murder because an innocent person had their life extinguished without being brought to justice first and proven guilty. That proof, these videos that you see online, that's been happening since, 2013-ish? Something like that, 2014? They've been brought to the different jurisdictions, they've been brought to the proper authorities, but it never seems to result in anything justified as far as consequences to the murderer. It's like every now and then they throw you a bone. Here's a cop, we're gonna give him 25 years, all right? Calm down, right? But then 2 years go by, and then 15 more of these incidents happen where these cop murderers are able to walk away with their freedom. And I don't care if they lost their job. I don't care if they're demonized by society. They are walking around as murderers amongst our society with their freedom when you and I, my friend, we would never be given that same opportunity, right?
Well, there's an old saying, if the fish stinks, it stinks at the head. Don't you also think that we have a cabal with hired hitmen? Some of them have 3-letter department names, and they are causing problems in the world using that problem reaction solution method. You know, take New Zealand as an example. They had the big massacre down there. Had you asked the people there a week before, would this ever be able to occur in your country, they would have said, no way. So, you know, now we're in this world where a lot of shit is staged with crisis actors to get a certain outcome or be able to run if it's gun confiscation, or they want to scare the masses into submission or whatever.
Whether it's misdirection, whether they're trying to take some of your freedoms from you. I mean, these tools that you're talking about are used to infiltrate and destroy. Let's take the original protest in Minnesota for George Floyd. It was a peaceful protest, all right? And we have evidence of this, by the way. During the peaceful protests, which consisted of blacks and whites and all sorts of demographics, okay? there was a gentleman dressed in all black. He had a black gas mask on, all black head to toe. They were standing out front of an AutoZone, I think it was, that had paned windows around the side. And he was walking very just casual and very liberally with a crowbar. And as he reached a new window, he flung his arm and he crashed it. And he went to the next one and he flung his arm and he crashed it. And there's video evidence of the protesters immediately running up to him, telling him that his actions are going to cause a negative impact on the protest. Okay? Now let's move to just a week later from that incident. They determined that this same gentleman was an off-duty Minneapolis police officer. All right? That goes to show you that he implanted himself, or he was implanted, for a specific purpose, which was to undermine the protest. It was to dissolve it from within. It was to destroy the credibility of good people fighting justly for a good cause, right? Since then, all we've seen is more and more of the same, okay? Groups dressed in all black, inciting riots every time there's a protest. This is another piece of information that you and anyone watching, you can find this information on television. The district attorney of Minneapolis was on the television speaking to the public, and he specifically said that we are finding caches of bricks and incendiaries that are being planted in the future destinations of our peaceful protest sites. So, someone was setting up the ammunition in place for a peaceful gathering to happen, and for someone to be able to use those planted incendiaries and bricks and things to cause destruction and upset the protests.
The conclusion from all of this?
We're being handled. We're being handled as a species, actually. There's all sorts of theories, right? There's an AI that's controlling everything. There's cabal or shadow governments that control the world. It doesn't matter what it is.
We're being attacked.
We are being attacked. We are being attacked onto our foundations. We are being told to separate in order to distance ourselves so information does not disseminate properly. We are being told to wear masks when the medical advisors have already determined that wearing a mask around the clock is not beneficial to the health.
Well, even for 10 seconds, you start breathing in too much carbon dioxide and not enough oxygen and all that.
That's right. You're also depriving yourself of the natural bacterias.
Plus, of course, the psychological aspect of it, it's divide and conquer again. If we can't see each other's facial expressions, I don't know whether you're friendly or looking at me in an angry way because you're hidden behind the mask. And so am I if I was wearing a mask.
That's right.
But they know this kind of stuff, and they've used these masks for thousands of years as a submission tool to government control. It's also saying you don't have a right to speak. It's a muscle, you know.
Sure.
It's like shut up and do what you're told.
Do what you're told. Yes.
And that's why I keep encouraging people, take that mask off and help protest. Show the cops, show the government, we do not consent. And the same with all the other bullshit they do to create new normals. We shouldn't consent with any of it. It all stops the moment we refuse to consent.
Yeah.
Anyway, last comment?
Last comment is this. No matter what you feel about what's going on, I'll just offer you this. Protect yourself and your family. Arm yourselves in defense of your own home and property. Stock up on the essentials that you might need. And this is not to cause panic. We already saw what happened the first time we went into quarantine and things flew off the shelves and things went missing. Prepare yourself for this again. Who knows what's going to happen? My freedom and your freedom stops where their noses begin. Anyway, thank you very much for all your input and fight hard. Listen and be safe. Protect yourself. Thank you very much. Take care.